Today I want to talk to you about why it is a terrible idea. I mean, terrible idea for you to actually try to become a new rally or garrison lead as of 2025 as a new player in Rise of Kingdoms. But first, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Musa Gaming here, and today I want to give you my take on why I think it is a terrible idea for you to try to become a new rally or garrison lead in Rise of Kingdoms. And just to give you a little bit of background on myself, I am a rally and garrison lead in Rise of Kingdoms. I've been a rally and garrison lead in Rise of Kingdoms since my KVK 1 stage, where I rally and garrison with Minamoto and YSG, right? So I've been there. And as you can see, I have the perfect cavalry rally set at the end of the day, as well as almost perfect armaments for cavalry rally in 2025. The only thing that I have that is not meta is actually this one right here. I'm missing legendary inscription here, but outside of that, this is probably the most optimal setup that you can possibly have for rally or garrison lead in 2025 for Attila Subutai rally with Arch and with everything that actually matters with legendary legendary inscriptions. And the first one, I'm missing legendary inscription, but then again, it is actually better to have Iron Wall, which will make you take 1.5% less normal damage, than Destructive, which will actually take away your rage and do less damage overall. But with all that said, though, so as a rally and garrison lead, I have played this game for the last 1172 days. I have been there. I've done everything. I've done rally. I've done garrison. Whatever you'd like to call it. Why do I not recommend that a new player in 2025 in Rise of Kingdoms not try to become a rally lead? Because there are so many disadvantages of you becoming a rally lead in 2025 than it ever has been in the history of Rise of Kingdoms, in my opinion. But first, let me actually show you some of the reports that I actually had from the years and years of me playing and rallying Garrison. As you can see, I've rallied in Garrison this entire KVK that I'm currently in as of August of 2025. And I go back all the way to 2022 when I started off the game. Let's just go ahead and go down all the way. I think I saw... Yeah, so this is actually my 2022 period, right? Where I garrisoned with Charles Martel. I rallied with, Minamoto and Lee Sung-ge. I've also, this is another rally report. This is KVK 1. As you can see, a rally lead can actually run rallies with Minamoto and Lee Sung-ge. You can see that it's not even filled on both sides because we're all out of troops in KVK 1. And in KVK 2, let's see. Yeah, like I rallied in Garrison in KVK 2 too, right? Like I can see that I'm running Saladin Isonge for the maximum amount of damage. And then the same thing here. So I've rallied from the very beginning of my Rise of Kingdoms life. And I had technically one of the best gears for the server for me to do that too, right? This was my KVK 1 gear. I had this changed to Talented Navarre's control at the end of the day, and I crafted, I think, the dagger by the time that I did start to rally. So this was my KVK 1 gear. And again, this is before Iconics came into the game, so you can see that there's no Iconics on the setup that I have. And by the time that I reached KVK 2, this is what we had. Almost everything that is not weapon and helmet talented. I was actually holding back on talenting my weapon and helmet at KVK 2 because I wasn't sure if I wanted to craft KVK weapon and helmet for cavalry. So here's what I ran at the end of the day, and I just didn't. I unfortunately didn't crit for my dagger at the end of the day. Yeah, so I had the best in class for whatever I had at the time that I was doing it. I was rallying and garrisoning again for KVK 1, KVK 2, and every season thereafter. So I've done rallies, I've done garrisons. And here is, well, let's just start from number one reason why I think it is not a good idea for you as a new player, new rally and garrison, prospective new rally and garrison lead to try to become a rally and garrison lead at the end of the day. And number one reason is there's only one KVK now that you can actually enjoy being a rally and garrison lead as a new rally and garrison lead. And here's why. After your first KVK is done, any kingdom can accept anyone who is of any account stage as immigrant. Let me actually say that again. Any kingdom after their first KVK can accept anyone who's at any account age to be migrated into the kingdom. So what I mean by that is you can technically have people like me who have this level of equipment, accept it into KVK2 Kingdom, and rally and Garrison against people who just started off the game after the first KVK. And just imagine how much damage, how much difference in equipments and armaments and all that stuff that you're going to be able to see between me, who has played this game for the last 1170 days, against who just started off the game like 3-4 months ago. And I think it's just how the system is actually designed. I think it's designed a little bit wrongly, but that's just the reality of today. And just imagine me just bringing this into your kingdom. If you're in KVK 1 and KVK 2, now imagine me just rallying Garrison against like people who just started off the game. They didn't take that many people who had the best meta equipment and armaments for the game, and just like imagine me just attacking them. I would destroy you guys, just straight off the bat. Like I would destroy anything that I actually rally, right? So it's gonna be really tough for you to compete against. So anything that you make in KVK1, of course, you're going to have fun. Let's say you have made like the best KVK1 set. Let's say something that looks like this except for the accessories. And you have made the best cavalry set. You're rallying, really having fun in KVK1. But after KVK1, you're going to face someone like me rallying Garrison against you. You're basically done. You can't compete against things like this, right? So that's one reason. Because after KVK1, the system allows like older players to actually join your kingdom, and you're just not going to be able to have a better gear or better equipment, better armaments than those people. And this is true regardless of how much money that you spend. Even if you are, let's say, even if you're a multi-millionaire, you're not going to be able to have, like physical time-wise, you're not going to be able to have Season of Conquest level. Even if you don't have Season of Conquest, I think in KVK2 you can't have Season of Conquest equipments used. You're not going to be able to have someone like me beaten because I have Iconic 4 of the non-KVK weapon 2, as well as talented, talented like non-KVK helmet. Like you're not going to be able to compete against people like me. Not to mention that you're most likely not going to have the commanders that I have, right? For example, let's say I have Saladin. Expertise Saladin, which a lot of people don't really have just because of the fact that, hey, like Saladin's expertise value is very minimal because he's only going to get like 300 extra damage factor. But in KVK2, the 300 damage factor is a night and day difference. So if I rally with Expertise, Saladin, YSG, or whatever I would like to rally with in KVK2, and if you're going against me with, let's say, a Saladin who is 5551 and you're trying to be efficient, you're just going to suffer so much. And for what? For just one KVK, like a month or two of KVK, that you're just going to try but still fail. So yeah, because of equipments and because of the fact that older players can migrate into your kingdom as soon as you start your KVK2, that's why I don't recommend that you try to become a rally or garrison lead in 2025. That's number one reason. Number two reason is that it has become more expensive than ever for you to complete the best rally or garrison set for earlier players. Here's what I mean by that. When I was first playing Rise of Kingdoms, there was no such thing as armament system or iconic system, right? As you can see, the setup that I had did not have iconics, and there is no armament system here. So if you had like the fully talented gear, like the one that you saw right here, like this is fully talented cavalry gear, right? Except for ring, just ignore it. If you had this, then you're basically almost on par with everyone who has played this game for years and years and years in Season of Conquest, maybe with the exception of the fact that you're just missing the KVK weapon and helmet. But now, even if let's say you wanted to rally and garrison lead at the meta level in KVK2, you will have to, and this is probably non-negotiable, you will have to iconic at least for all your equipment so that you can actually do that 3% extra damage to people on the map, 3% damage to troops on the map, and then there's also like that 3% damage. There's so much that you're going to be missing out if you're a new rally or garrison lead who doesn't have iconic 3 or 4 in your equipment. And it is exceptionally more more expensive for you to try to become a rally lead because you'll need more materials, you'll need more blueprints for you to iconic 4 all this stuff as a new rally and garrison lead, right? And on top of that, now all those armament system that in the place for the game, you will need basically at least comparable rally and garrison level armaments for you to compete against people like me, who migrated into KVK1 Kingdom, post KVK1 Kingdoms. So it's just not fair. You're just not going to have a great time, and that's the reason why. Because of the introduction of iconic system and the armament system, it has become more expensive for you to have competitive equipment and armament in the game than it has ever been. And that's the reason number two. Reason number two is that because it is more expensive for you to have meta level equipment and meta level armaments, I don't recommend that you try to become a rally lead in 2025. And these will all just come with time. It took me 2 years for me to complete this whole set with Iconic 5, KVK weapon and helmet, with fully talented like gears, with fully talented Season of Conquest accessories, Ring of Doom, as well as Horn of Fury. It took me just so long. It's gonna take you so long too. And if you try to hurry this up, it's just gonna cost you immense amount of money. And it's not really up to you too. Even if you spend like millions and millions of dollars on this game, try to catch up to having this level of equipment. Like, you having enough Season of Conquest coins does not really depend on you, but depends on whether or not your kingdom wins the KVK, for one, and then two, whether or not your kingdom can actually claim the ziggurat at the end of the day, which means that you're going to get a star, which will give you that extra Season of Conquest coin, right? So yeah, so that's the reason why. That's the second reason why I don't recommend that you try to become a rally garrison lead in 2025. Now, third reason. Now, this is actually dependent on the Season of Conquest map that you actually enter, but when you exit your KVK 2 and 3, and then when you enter Season of Conquest, here's a problem. There's gonna be maps that will have something called auxiliary skills. Now, if you're a new player who, let's say, wants to rally or garrison lead, and let's say you enter a KVK where, let's say, Heroic Anthem, for example. Heroic Anthem is the most basic kind of KVK format that you'll be able to play. This is actually one of the most popular KVK format that a lot of people play. And when you want to play Heroic Anthem KVK and you want to become a rally or garrison lead, you'll have to have a lot of commander's skills basically maxed out for you to be truly unlocking the maximum power that you can possibly do with that rally or garrison lead in that map. For example, let's say I'm a new player. I'm not going to have William's Charge of the Hastings, which is actually, where's William at? Let me go ahead and find William. Yeah, which is the second skill of William, unlocked fully and then maxed out. I'm not going to have a 5551 William as a new player, as a new rally and garrison lead that is just entering Season of Conquest, Heroic Anthem, KVK, right? But all those auxiliary skills are basically released based on your luck, right? And unless you have all of your cavalry commander's skill level maxed out for no reason at all, because at the earlier stages of the game, you'll be basically busy trying to have an Attila Subutai, because that's something that you have to go out of your way for you to actually invest your gold heads and your daily bundles to actually get, right? But on top of that, you also need skills of the commanders that you want to use maximize at the end of the day too. So like, even if you have Attila Subutai, even if you have the best equipment in the game, all maxed out, most likely not, because you're not going to have Season of Conquest helmet and weapon. Even if you have the best armament in the game set up, you're still going to have so much disadvantage for not having the right auxiliary skill unlocked. If you don't have Charge of the Hastings on this map, there's no better skill that you can actually use in this map right now. For example, let's say I have to replace Charge of the Hastings, which will give you 20% attack, 50% march speed, and then 10% more damage when outside of Alliance territory. That is 10% damage that you're most likely going to be able to do whenever you're in a rally, because you're never going to rally something that is in your Alliance territory, right? So 10% damage 20% attack. Let's take a look at the next best skill for cavalry. It will give you 25% attack. And granted, that is I haven't maxed this out, and this is the point, right? I don't have Cal's second skill maxed out because I use him for commander swapping with Arthur. So right now I don't have an expertise Cal, and look at this skill right here. I'm missing one skill point into the auxiliary skill, but it's like not having a max skill point on the commander at the end of the day, right? And you'll face countless scenarios of you just missing something against whatever you're going against as a new and rally and Garrison lead, just because of the fact that you haven't played the game for long enough. And that will just always be kind of like the blocker for you to play as a new rally or Garrison lead. And yeah. And that's so reason number 3 is because you're not going to have all as many commanders maxed out, skills maxed out. You're going to suffer whenever there is an auxiliary skill or support skill that you need to utilize for you to become a good rally or Garrison lead for your server. So that's the third reason. And the fourth reason is actually trust. So for you as a new rally or Garrison lead to have a max filling Garrison or rally, you need time for you to build your trust with your kingdom at the end of the day, right? And again, as a new player who's just starting off the game, let's say it took you a long time, right? Let's say you play your KVK 1, let's say you play KVK 2, and then you see people like me come into your kingdom. You realize that, you're not going to be able to compete with people like me who have the best cavalry equipments. You took the time to actually build up all the equipments that you need. Let's say you have the best, almost best formations for the game and all that good stuff. And even if you actually took like 2 to 3 years for you to build the maximum setup for your kingdom, for your rally and Garrison, at the end of the day, you will be always in a position where you have to prove to your kingdom that your rally is worth joining, and you will always trade positive. Because at the end of the day, all those deads and the units that you're actually getting you're borrowing them from other players in your kingdom. And when other people in your kingdom is lending you your troops, you better be trading positive. If not, you're not even going to be able to have a full rally at the end of the day. This is the reason why I was able to trade so well every single time that I actually go against the enemy. And there's some cases where I haven't done so as much. You can see this one I haven't really traded as well. Even me, who had the best equipment in the game, is gonna have reports like this. But you have to earn your kingdom's trust for them to kind of realize, hey, even if I join him right now and then this may not trade positive at the end of the day, eventually I'm going to have a great return over time. I'm going to at least get more than 100% in the kill point trade. And joining his rally with my farm, with my troops, and reinforcing this rally with my troops is going to be benefiting for the whole kingdom. That's the kind of mindset you gotta be able to give for your kingdom and people who are joining your rallies. And that is not something that you can just build over time. It took me a long time for people to just, blindly just join my rally in Garrison. And only at that point, you're gonna be able to actually beat garrisons that you're facing against. Because garrisons, it is a lot easier for you to actually get the reinforcements. And rally, you need everyone who's running their main marches on the field to just join your rally at the end of the day for you to basically, because you're not going to always have farms kind of ready to reinforce your rally at the end of the day. But if you're running out of troops and people who are just around your rally to support your rally from getting swarmed down at the end of the day, they'll need to join with their main troops, T5 troops at the end of the day. And when they do that, they need to trust you enough that you're not going to give me crazy amount of deaths and you're going to trade positive. And although it hurts me to actually put in my main march into reinforcing your rally, at the end of the day, it is actually going to win. That's the kind of level of trust that you got to be able to give to your to your kingdom mates at the end of the day, and that is very very tough. Even if you have the best armament, even if you have the best gear in the game, and yeah, and that's reason number 4 why I don't think it is a really good idea for you to try to become a rally lead, because even if you have the best things, you just may not have the trust of the kingdom, and that's something that you just have to overcome with time, and with reports, countless reports like this where you traded positive against the enemies at the end of the day. And reason number 5, it will be very tough for you as a new player who has very few marches that you already built out to have good KP as a rally or garrison lead. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say you're fighting, and this account is a perfect example, right? I have 5 billion kill points, 71 million power, just because I swarmed a lot of flags with my troops. You can see that I have like 2 million bes, but that's not the point. For a rally lead that has the best cavalry equipment in the game, you might be thinking that, oh, well, he does have pretty low KP. And this is why. If you're rallying a garrison leading at the end of the day, you can only bring out a couple. So you can't use the first main, your best equipment for anything on the field, because you're either rallying or garrisoning with that. So I have to take out my first cavalry one, and then I need to work with my second march, which is going to be my infantry for this time. And then I have to work with my third march, which is going to be my archer. And then I have to work with my fourth one, which is actually my cavalry, second set. So you have to, and you always have to, use your best set for rally or garrison on the field, because there wouldn't be a time, 90% of the time that you're playing in Season of Conquest or any KVK that you're playing, the rally or garrison lead, the main rally or garrison lead for the server will have to reserve your main march and equipment for rallying and garrisoning most of the time. So imagine having invested so much time for you to build the best cavalry set in the game, only to find out that you can't use this for you to really field on the field. It's going to pain your account, and it's going to make your kill point growth really, really slow. And this is the perfect example of this account. You see that my most units killed is very, very low, just because of the fact that, oh, well, I went all in my main cavalry march, but I always reserve this march for rally or garrison at the end of the day. So I use my second cavalry march setup and my non-maining troop type setup. I have to use by chi. So I'm using like those 3 marches on the field, because I have to reserve my first march for cavalry, rally, or garrison at the end of the day for the whole server, right? So yeah, that's my 5th reason why I don't recommend you try to become a rally lead in 2025, because it's gonna hurt your KP no matter what you do, and it's just true. It's just a truth that you have to face. If you're an old-time player, like let's say if you're like Chasky or Chisgul at the end of the day, then it's fine. There's gonna be a bunch of different people who can rally your garrison in your kingdom, in place of you, first of all, and 2, you're gonna have a second pair that's gonna be almost as good as your first rally or garrison pair, right? So you're gonna be able to also rally and garrison while also having a spare cavalry march, for my example, right? To be actually better than most of people's equipment. So you'll be able to still trade better in your field while you're also rallying and garrisoning. But people like me, people like you, who are just starting off the game, and although I played this game for long enough, I really still am struggling to get enough kill points in KVK, just because I'm rallying and garrisoning. I'm a new player, relatively new player, who's rallying and garrisoning, right? And it's only recent that I started gaining more KP, because of the fact that I have completed my main cavalry set, and I started working on my secondary, tertiary equipment set for my cavalry number 2, archer number 1, and infantry number 1. So yeah, so that's my reason number 5. So yeah, so that's pretty much it on why I think you should try not to become a new rally or garrison lead in 2025. And it's tough. I get it. Rally and garrison leads are fun. It feels good to represent your whole kingdom's strength by sending out a rally with all of your kingdom's march, and it feels good. You feel good about yourself, and like since it's also a pride thing too. Like, oh yeah, I have the best best equipment for the kingdom. Of course, I need to rally against the enemy, and of course, I'm the lead. That's why they call it rally for the kingdom. But in reality, it costs you so much more for you to become a rally garrison lead, and it costs you and it takes time for you to be a good value garrison lead at the end of the day. And if you're just starting off the game, if you're like, let's say 100 days, 200 days in, you are doing well in your KVK1, and you're like, hey, like I think I want to build my account into rally garrison lead right now because I'm doing well right now. Maybe after watching this video, I think you should think twice when you're doing that. But yeah, I hope you guys actually enjoyed today's video. And if you guys did enjoy today's video, please go ahead and drop me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video. All right, peace.